So today we're going to be taking a look at some TikToks that demonstrate the UK cost of living crisis right now. I think it's a big issue right now in the UK, just how much things cost compared to like wages. I'm trying to find some more recent ones from 2025. There is so many people talking about this issue going all the way back for like 3, 4, 5 years on TikTok. So I tried to find some of the more time relevant ones, and we're going to take a look at it and discuss it. So all of the TikToks will be linked below if you want to go watch them individually and see what else the creators are doing. Also, let me know your experience if you live in the UK or where you live, if the cost of living is absolutely abysmal for you too. But without further ado, let's get into it.
I don't think people grasp just how bad the British economy is. The average person in the UK was more economically active nearly 20 years ago than they are today. This isn't just pointless rambling and complaining. Every other economy has not just recovered, they've seen economic prosperity since the 2008 financial crisis.
I mean, that is kind of crazy that the GDP per capita in UK has dropped over the last, 17 years, and everyone else has increased. I will say there is a few caveats with that. In terms of the US, obviously they pay higher wages. I do think it's probably a better quality of life over there right now, but then again, it's going to be in certain areas. Similar to the UK, obviously quality of life in London, if you earn a good wage, is obviously higher than other places. He also showed Ireland there. I think Ireland has certain tax benefits for corporations, and that's why it's so high. I don't think the average Irish person is actually earning that much, but I haven't done too much research into that one personally, but I think there is something to be said about that. And we also have to remember that's not even adjusted for inflation. So in terms of 17 years ago, that 50k, it will be worth a lot more than the 49 he showed, or 48, whatever it was. So yeah, it just shows how much worse off we are in the UK currently than we were even 15 years ago.
Capita, we were doing better than the United States in 2007.
That is insane.
Now, to say that they've surpassed us is an understatement. We are one of the least productive countries in Western Europe. The only country that loses more millionaires per year than the UK is China, a communist country with 20 times the population of the UK.
It is crazy to look at this graph because the UK are losing almost 10,000, China losing, 15, India. Makes sense that some of these countries are losing them. Like Russia, obviously, we know what's going on there. South Africa has a massive problem right now. Brazil, Nigeria, it makes sense that rich people would leave these countries. Obviously, a lot going to Canada, US, Australia, Singapore, UAE, obviously low taxes. A lot of people kind of fleeing to these lower cost of living / better quality of life places, and the UK being right up there. And like you said, considering China has billion plus people, in the UK have about 70 million. The gap is so small between that, it's insane. China do obviously have a lot of weird things going on with their billionaires. Obviously, if you don't toe the Chinese government line, you will just, I don't know what they do. They'll just disappear you for a while and you'll come back not looking like yourself. But yeah, it's insane to see that.
Hey, oh my God! Okay, jokes and screaming aside, listen, there's no easy fix to this, so please don't believe the ridiculous politicians we have in this country when they come on this app and go, yeah, guys, like, all we have to do is this, and the whole thing's fixed. I'm sure we'll figure it out, right? We always do, but please, please, please don't fall into politicians' false lies, saying that they're going to fix all of this, that as soon as they get into power, not anyone else, as soon as they get into power, our quality of life is just going to skyrocket. They all say the same thing.
That's very true. Like, I don't think there's any party in the UK that's going to come in and fix the problem. I feel like they all toe the same fucking line. They all say the same thing. They all say, when I come in, I'll sort it out. But they're all the same. They all have the same beliefs. They all come from the same places, the same universities, the same schools. They all came from rich families for the majority. And the difference between like Labour and Conservative and whatever else in this country is very, very little. Like, they all kind of have the same policies, and they all kind of say things and then do something completely different and don't actually address the underlying issues. So yeah, anyone blaming one issue for this is obviously probably got some sort of agenda. I don't think it's just because of immigration or whatever else they want to blame, but it is pretty worrying considering if you are earning a normal salary in the UK, you will be struggling quite a lot currently. All right, let's have a guess. Write in the comments how much you think this costs. So that's like, a meal deal and some female sanitary products. I mean, a meal deal in most places, if you have like a Nectar card or a Club card or Morrison's card, whatever, is it was £3.50. I don't really get meal deals that much. I think it's £4 without, £3.50, £3.70 without. And then this, I've never bought them before, so let's just say £2-3. I'd say about £6 would be the price currently. Is that too expensive? Maybe, but let's see what she says.
Pads and a meal deal. Pads and a meal deal. Let's just guess that. £6.70.
£6.70.
Who's paying that?
Yeah.
Who is paying that?
Well, obviously she's paying that, and everyone else is paying that because we have to pay that. But yeah, still with Nectar saving £2.35. So to be fair, the actual price of it is closer to £9 than £6.70.
Hey, Me, the absolute fool, the clown. Yeah, £6.70, and that was meant to be what? 6, 7, 8. That would have been £9.
Yeah.
£9.
Crazy work.
British pounds for 4 items. You know that's nearly someone's hourly pay. Like, a few more pounds, a couple more pounds, like 1, 2, 3 more pounds. That's an hour's work gone.
Correct. If you are earning minimum wage in London, because I live in London, I think it's £13.85, right? Outside London, it's even less than that. So yeah, £9 for a meal deal. I mean, you might as well just buy all the ingredients yourself and make sandwiches at home at that point, because it's not worth the money, or doesn't even taste that good in my opinion. It's just convenient.
For sanitary pads and a meal deal for one day. Come on. Like, the UK has actually lost the plot. They've lost the plot. I'm done. I'm finished. And people are coming at me in the comments on my last video saying, oh, the UK is what you make it. Life's what you make it. You know, you can do this, 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 this. No. The stuff, we're in a cost of living crisis here. The stuff that we pay for to live is costing way too much. Like, we work to live. We don't work to do anything else but live.
To be honest, I've seen it a lot. In terms of especially branded items, they have gone up so much. Like, if you want to buy Heinz ketchup, that shit's like £5 for a bowl, and then this on Nectar price like £3.50. It's still very expensive. If you buy like the own brands, they cut the price. I don't know if it's a tactic from supermarkets to try and sell more of their own goods and stuff like that, but I do think it's crazy that like a sandwich, a drink, and a packet of crisps can cost so much, like £4. And like you said, when you start deeping it and you realize that, yo, I spent, you know, half of my hourly wage on these products, you start second guessing it. Another thing she said was that people in the comments were saying, oh, the UK is what you make it, all this. I think that's kind of bullshit, considering there are countries like the US where pay is almost double. And you can say, well, yeah, they work a lot more, they don't have as much free time, they have less holiday, they have to pay healthcare costs. But at the end of the day, when you aggregate that through tax, you pay a lot for healthcare costs. Go look at your tax. You can see a tax breakdown on the HMRC website, and you can see how much of your taxes go to healthcare every year. So if you earn a decent amount of money, I bet you're paying the same amount you would probably for health insurance. But that is what it is. When people say that, they usually have a lot of money, they usually can afford the price increases, and the reality of the situation is it's not just the groceries that go up. I mean, electric bill, water bill, all of that is extremely expensive. It goes up every year. Transport, TfL is now the most expensive public transport in the world, I believe, after they up the prices. You know, trains in the UK, I have to make a video about trains because train prices are absolutely insane when you compare them to other places. So let's move on to the next one.
I haven't done anything fancy yet. Yeah. You're just paying your bills. Yeah. I live in Croydon. I've got a 2-bed flat that
So he lives in Croydon. Croydon is one of the cheaper boroughs of London, just probably because of the reputation. Maybe the travel links aren't the best out of Croydon.
Paying £13.50 for. When I start calculating all of my extra
2-bed for £13.50 is actually pretty good.
I always have to do the math. So £13.50. You add another £100 for council tax. That's £14.50.
I will say £13.50 for a 2-bed in London, right? And Croydon, obviously not the most desirable area in London. £13.50 for a 2-bed is very good. I hopefully it's in good condition. I mean, obviously, when you go look at some of the listings in London, the shit apartments that need a lot of work tend to be slightly lower than the good ones. But £13.50 is pretty good, because if you look now, I think the average is probably 1.6, 1.7, 1.8 for a 2-bed.
Add another sort of £2.50 bills for your electric, water, and all of that, and gas. That's now £14.50. Let's call it £16.50.
And that is if he lives alone. Obviously, if you live with more people, you're going to use more electric, water, gas. And obviously, council tax. I don't even want to talk about council tax. I feel like it's one of the biggest scams these men run on us. But £100 for council tax a month, he's living in a decent... He's a bit lucky with that, because I think mine is like £150. So there you go.
Yeah. Talk about food. Let's call it...
I don't want to talk about food.
£200 a month? Mm-hmm. That's
£200 a month?
Fair. £50 a week?
Fair.
That's another 200. That's
£2,050 before you do anything. Food, £200 a month for one person, I think is pretty reasonable. And that's not even eating anything fancy or going out for meals. I know it sounds like a lot, but if you're buying, you know, obviously you want to eat decent food, and this is just buying the own brand supermarket stuff. £50 a week, that's what £200 is. A few packs of chicken thighs. You know, even if you're shopping at Costco or wholesale markets trying to get deals, I think £50 a week, £200 a month is pretty standard.
1,050. Yeah. Remember, I haven't bought any clothes. I haven't done anything yet. I'm on 2,050. What else may I have missed out? Let's say I've got a car. Yeah. You know, the typical thing nowadays is to finance or lease. Let's call it 2,450 now. That's for your lease for your car. Now you got to talk insurance. Call it another £100. I'm on 2,550.
Bills.
I haven't done anything fancy yet. Yeah. Now, What is that salary-wise after tax? That's like a 40k salary.
Yeah.
You're just paying your bills.
I think I'm gonna have to react to the whole video of this. I've been seeing this guy's clip go around YouTube Shorts, TikTok. I've seen it so many times. I might have to go find the whole video and react to it because he's speaking absolute sense, and I think it looks like they've cut a lot of it out. But in terms of all of that, in terms of a car in the UK these days is seen as a luxury, right? And the thing is, if you live in London, right, or maybe some other big cities, the transport is pretty good. You could get everywhere with TfL. TfL's not cheap, but it's probably cheaper than owning a car, considering you have ULEZ, road tax, congestion charge if you have to drive through Central. You have so many charges that come with cars. Like, these men will give you a ticket if you go like 2 miles over the speed limit. So they don't give a fuck. They just try and stop people driving. But that whole breakdown, like, if you want to live by yourself, and obviously if you're, over 25, getting towards 30, you want to have a family, you don't really want to be living with your parents. Of course, expenses will be a lot less. Living with your parents at 30 is a bit mad. And like he said, almost 2.5k pretty much to live by yourself, or to maybe live with a partner. It's mad. You will not be able to live by yourself in this country unless you work insane hours, or you just got lucky and got a lot of pay, or you managed to get money from somewhere. It's actually mad how much money it takes to live in London per month. And like you said, a 40k salary. I think the average salary in the UK is what, 30 something, 35, 37, which again is dragged up by the extreme amount of rich people in the country. Obviously, a lot of millionaires are leaving, but London is still one of the cities with the most billionaires in the world. So take of that what you will.
Is £2,000 per month enough to live in London?
You're joking?
No
chance.
No chance. What's the minimum wage?
£2,000 a month to live in London.
Oh my god.
Is that enough?
No!
No.
I live on £2,000 a month. £2,000
Okay.
a week.
We struggle.
£2,000 a week, isn't it?
£2,000 a week.
That's what I'm telling everybody. We should win like £6,000 a month.
I mean, yeah, £2,000 a month is a lot. It's not a lot of money, especially to live by yourself. If you're living with your parents, or you have lower rent, then you will be able to get by on it. £2,000 a month. If you're living with parents, you'll be able to get away with it. You'll be able to save money. You will not be able to get your own place for £2,000 a month. And if you can, you will have absolutely no money to do anything fancy, to save anything, to invest anything. You just won't.
Not £2,000. That's the minimum wage. £2,000.
You need at least 40k a year.
40k a year, yeah. How many holidays we should have per year?
2. Or at least 28 days.
28 days,
at
yes.
least.
I think it's legal to provide 28 days of holiday regardless, even to like part-time. But yeah, I mean, they're not wrong. I think some of the figures are a bit mad. If you are earning 8k a month, if that's after tax, then you are earning an insane amount of money. But in terms of course, it depends. If you want a comfortable life in London, I think you need at least probably 4,000 a month after tax to live a very comfortable life. If you have any more than that, you will probably have to make concessions in other places, which obviously is fine. You can't just have everything easy in your own way, but if you wanted to be comfortable, I think 3.5 to 4k, living in a modest apartment, not doing anything too fancy, you'll be okay.
£3,822 is the household income per month in this house. So please tell me
Decent.
why this is all I've got left. And it's
Now, I will say, there is definitely some element of this where people are spending their money irresponsibly. And we shall see, this won't break it down and see it. But some of the comments I'm seeing here, one says about 7k a month here and skin. So if bro's making £7,000 a month and he has no money left, this brother is spending his money irresponsibly.
and it's only the middle of the month. £2.30. Now, I wouldn't mind, but I don't smoke. I don't have a car. I rarely drink. Where is my money? Now, the number one factor who's eating all my money up is my 3 children, but that's not the point.
Oh, there you go. There you go. That's where the majority of the money goes. In terms of, again, if you have more people depending on you, you're going to spend a lot more money on food. Like we spoke about earlier, £200 for one person makes a lot of sense. Once you start getting into having 3 kids, you're probably looking at close to £600 a month just for food.
I'd also like to point out I do not live in a massive house. Yes, I do private rent, but it's a 2-bedroom little house with no central heating, may I add. On the plus side, my bills are paid and we've got food. But sorry, my kid just farted. But anyway, £2.30. That wouldn't even buy me some cheese chips. I also would like to add, I don't own a single credit card. And my bills are just basic bills, I think. My rent's quite expensive. But fucking hell.
Well, in this situation, I would say, and some of the comments are also calling it out, I would say that there's got to be something a little bit interesting going on with with the money here. Like, you might be spending on irresponsible things. I will say that, because to be making 3.8k and then having only £2 left at the end of the month, I don't know how much you're spending on rent and then food, and then like rent, food, bills surely shouldn't be more than 3k in that situation, especially as she said, she's got a 2-bed, no car, you know, all of that. Something fishy in my opinion. So I'm going to caveat this TikTok by saying this guy is definitely one of those sort of scammers online who tries to sell a course and that's how he makes his money. You know what I mean? He's one of those guys, scam the audience using the cost of living crisis as a sort of way to get desperate people to subscribe to his course and give him the money that they need for other things. So, but there is a few decent points in here, and I think it's good to highlight these things so people don't fall into these traps and, you know, maybe see this and sign up to the course, because obviously some people, they don't see these things, they may not understand. So let's get into it and see.
Not realise the absolute scam of supermarkets. I genuinely can't walk in this place without spending at least £50 to £100, and that's not to get a week's shop, that's literally a day. Just a few essentials, a little bit of food. Look,
£50 to £100, brother, you are absolutely talking shit. Like, £50 to £100, that's a week's shop. Okay, that's a week shop. I mean, this brother's looking at all, you'll notice he's looking at all the branded expensive stuff. Like, salmon in these places is absolutely a rip-off, by the way. These little 2 pieces of salmon, $6.75. Yes, that's very expensive. Don't buy it, guys. Don't buy it. Sainsbury's always around about some point, they'll release the whole big salmon, the whole fillet. For on neck, the price is about £12 a kilo or whatever. You get about 15 slices of salmon from that, freeze it, do what you will. Much better value for your money.
Look at these prices, £5 for fish, £4 for juice, £4 for shower gel, a £5 for egg.
And once again, only showing branded stuff, showing organic eggs, organic stuff in this country, absolute rip-off. Usually double, triple the price. You know what I mean? Just buy regular stuff. If you're going to buy eggs, go buy like these normal Sainsbury's eggs. I think they're like £1.60. You know, you can get like the, that's the Stamford Street or whatever. You could get the regular thing for about £1.80. So this guy chatting shit again.
People work a whole hour for £10 and it costs nearly that for washing tablets. It's alright for me earning thousands of pounds per day, but I genuinely can't understand how anyone survives these days. If you want to learn how to make a second income, go to the bio.
And there it is. There it is, man. But yeah, this guy obviously dropping a scam thing. If you're spending £62, you're getting a weekly shop. I do think if you're that desperate for money, don't go for the branded or organic stuff. I understand, like, it's a luxury, you might want it, you may think it's better for you, whatever. But in the meantime, if you don't have the money, just get the cheaper stuff. Like, you could get a pot of yogurt for less than £5.75 and eggs for less than £5 a carton, I promise. It's just cherry picking to try and shill his course. So yeah, don't fall for traps like this, guys.
If you think UK life is easy, you are in for a surprise. Hi guys, my name is Sujan Ho. I'm 24 years old and I have lived in the UK for over a decade now. In this video, I'll break down all of the expenses that you would have to face once you come to the UK. I'm not making this video to scare anyone. I'm just here to tell you the truth, and trust me, you can make it work.
So let's see if this is going to be very accurate or not. Obviously, this guy said he came to the UK, so this will be useful for anyone who's immigrating to the UK or thinks it will be a better life here. We'll see.
So let's just say you get a job that pays you around £1,500 a month. It sounds about realistic. So
£1,500 a month, is it realistic? I mean, it depends how many hours you're working. If you can only get a part-time job, which is about 20 hours a week, right? 20 hours a week. We're getting the minimum wage in London. You're probably looking at a little bit less than that. But if you can get a full-time job, 40 hours a week at the minimum wage in London, you will get closer to £2,000. But it really depends how many hours you do, what job you can get. So yeah.
So now let's break down the expenses. For your rent, you need about £500 roughly. That's if you live in a shared accommodation. So £500.
Yeah, that's not realistic for London. If you're maybe living elsewhere in the UK, house share for 500, maybe. But then again, your salary will be lower. In London, you're looking at probably minimum 700. Maybe you could find one cheaper, but it probably won't be a nice house. I'd say I've seen them 700, 800, 900 plus. So yeah, I wouldn't.
Pound is gone.
Say I'd say it'd be more than that.
Around £150 to £200. You need to have a phone and you need Wi-Fi. So that's around, let's say, £100. And when you come here, you need to travel around London for your work to go home. So that's around £150. And you need to eat food to survive. So that's around £250 to £300. On that salary, now you're left with only around £200 to £300. Now, if you convert that to Nepalese rupees, you might be able to live okay with that money. But in here, you are just surviving. Your life is not that easy.
So let's look at this breakdown real quick and see if it's realistic. So salary 1.5. Sure. He did caveat that this is in London because he said TFL. So Rent 500, I think it will be more than that. I think you're looking, even at health share, you're looking at 700 probably. Bills 150, so that's going to be like your gas, electric, all that. 150, probably fair. Phone and Wi-Fi for 100. I mean, Wi-Fi is quite expensive. You're probably looking at 50 for that. Phone, if you get a decent line, you could get it for quite cheap. If you have a phone already. Obviously, if you don't, you might have to do the upfront cost straight away. But if you get a cheap enough phone that has 5G, you could get a decent plan for quite a lot of data for £10 in the UK. So fair enough. Travel 150. If you're traveling around TFL for work, you're taking bus and tube every day, this is pretty realistic. And then food for 250. Again, like I said, I think 200 is probably around about, but 250, yeah, pretty good. So I think it's kind of realistic, although the rent probably a bit low. You guys let me know what you think in the comments below. So yeah, as you guys can see, the cost of living in the UK is pretty hard. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is the cost of living as bad where you are? And yeah, let me know if there's anything else you want me to cover. And yeah, I'll see you all in the next